The lead attorney defending former President Donald Trump in his criminal hush money trial risks prison himself by taking his problematic client's advice, a fellow lawyer warned Wednesday. Attorney Mark Herrmann issued his warning to Trump lawyer Todd Blanche in a Daily Beast column that begins with a classic setup/punchline joke. What do you call a lawyer who obeys Donald Trump's advice? Herrmann asks. The answer? Felon. Herrmann's advice arrives on the heels of a report that Blanche has become the focus of Trump's wrath over his perceived failure to tackle the hush money trial with adequate aggression in obeisance to the former president's orders. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 counts that he falsified business records to cover up hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 presidential election, as is contended by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. As the ongoing trial makes national headlines, Blanche and his tenuous relationship with Trump have been thrown into the spotlight. For Todd Blanche's sake, I hope he sticks to his guns, Herrmann wrote. Trump has led a consequence-free life, but litigators in particular do not live consequence-free lives. Lawyers who disobey the law and court orders face a plethora of consequences that can include losing a case, sanctions, loss of reputation, and disbarment, Herrmann notes. Nor, the lawyer explains, is the latter consequence unheard of among attorneys in Trump's orbit. Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, and others in Trump's penumbra are all lawyers who acted as Trump desired and have lost, or are at risk of losing, their licenses, Herrmann writes. Herrmann gives a hat tip to Blanche, whom he describes as a serious lawyer correct in his decision not to pursue a courtroom campaign of unbridled aggression. Serious lawyers do not attack jurors, he wrote. That approach is both sure to make jurors resent you and probably get you referred to a bar association for disciplinary action. The lawyer argues Trump will continue to blame Blanche for any courtroom mishaps that occur and therefore he should not risk his professional reputation trying to appease a demanding client. After all, he writes, has Trump ever in his life blamed himself when something went wrong? Herrmann began his opinion piece with a joke, but ended it on a serious note with an old saying among criminal defense lawyers. Be sure that, at the end of the trial, your client is the one who goes to jail, Herrmann concludes. But be sure that, at the end of the trial in New York, it's Trump and not you who goes to jail. Again, a witness who appeared Tuesday in former President Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial just pulled back the curtain on a world that, according to legal analyst Lisa Rubin, can only be described with a single word: sketchy. MSNBC host Chris Hayes and Rubin smiled as they discussed the salacious details shared by Keith Davidson, an attorney who said he bartered catch-and-kill deals with National Enquirer for clients Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, despite hesitations from the tabloid. That is too sketchy for the National Enquirer, Hayes quipped. You need to run this as an off-book operation because us, the National Enquirer, find this to be dubious. I'm glad you used the word sketchy, because sketchy comes to mind with Keith Davidson, replied Rubin. He did not want to acknowledge his full complicity in either of these deals. He was shadowy. Rubin went on to explain how Davidson's testimony played a pivotal role in the case brought by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who contends Trump falsified business records to cover up hush money paid ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Trump pleaded not guilty to the charges and denies affairs with Daniels, an adult film star, and McDougal, a former Playboy model. Davidson is the lawyer for Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, so prosecutors were taking him through the settlement payments of both women, said Rubin. This was the seedy underbelly of the world that David Pecker sort of took us through. Former federal prosecutor Harry Littman joined in to explain his view that Davidson brought Bragg's narrative to its pivotal moment. When Trump, then a presidential candidate, was faced with the release of the notorious Access Hollywood tape he feared would torpedo his campaign. He really brought us to the precipice of Stormy Daniels and the crisis, Littman said. He was very effective in reinforcing the notion that at this point it is a nitroglycerin crisis that has to be dealt with.